Welcome to The Pulse, where we delve deep into the issues and ideas that are shaping the future of education. I'm your host, Rick Surrency, Superintendent of the Putnam County School District, and each week we'll be talking to teachers, administrators, and other experts in the field about the latest trends, best practices, and most pressing concerns in education. Whether you're a teacher, a parent, or just someone who cares about education, this podcast is for you. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into the pulse. Hi, this is Rick Surrency. I'm the superintendent of the Putnam County School District, and welcome back to our podcast. And I'm very honored today to have two distinguished guests with me today to talk about our construction projects, better known as our revitalization plan. And as you know, we're in the process of building 3 new schools currently, and each of those projects are different, and they're in different phases, and we're going to talk about, where we are. And as a matter of fact, I want to go ahead. I normally don't do this, but I want to tell you the day's date is November 20th, 2024. So whatever we talk about is as of this date. So, and hopefully in future podcasts, we can update you with our progress. So very happy to have our Associate Superintendent for Support Services, Thomas Bolling, and Greg Kelley from CRA. And both of you just introduce yourselves and tell us, what your role is in our entire building process, if you would. Thomas, go ahead.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Thomas Bolling. As Rick said, I serve as the Associate Superintendent for Support Services. And I actually have to look at my list to make sure that I don't leave out a department. But those departments include communication, information services, school food service, school safety, student services, transportation, and of course, maintenance and facilities, which we intend to talk a little bit about today. Just a little bit about my background. This is my 30th year of education. I've been a special education teacher, a guidance counselor, an assistant principal, principals at the elementary level, the middle school level, and the high school level. And I was actually at my second high school, which is Palatka Junior Senior High. That's pretty much a little known fact at this point, but I was in my first year there. And then I got a call from a pretty good friend who wanted me to come downtown and jump into this role, and it's been a blast. I mean, I've had a tremendous time working with you, Rick, and down at the district office and doing the district's business, so to speak.
For the past 8 years, and as of yesterday, we're starting our 3rd term. So
yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir. Proud to be here. Yeah. And I'm going to kick it off to Greg Kelley to my left.
Thank you, Thomas.
All right, I'm Greg Kelley. I'm an architect with Clemens Rutherford and Associate Architects. We're out of Tallahassee, Florida. I head up our K-12 education department in the office. For this school district, Putnam County, we are the design manager, which means we're overseeing all the projects here, helping you out, getting everything approved through DOE and such. And we are the actual architects on 2 projects, the Crescent City High School project and the Crescent City Pre-K to 6 project.
Greg, it's good to have you. And I'll tell you, we've been working with Greg, and correct me if I'm wrong, going back to like 2019 or 20?
Maybe before that.
Right.
You started our survey work probably 2018, 2019.
I was going to say, I believe it's a 2018 project number in our office.
Wow.
So.
And actually helped us design this entire revitalization plan, which is a 10-year process. And couldn't have done it without you. And we just certainly appreciate you. And we just think you're part of our district now.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I am. I feel like I belong down here now.
Right. Well, good to have you. And I think what we want to talk about, and I know a lot of the folks out there watching this maybe not aware of the actual 3 projects that we're doing right now and where we are in those projects. And we want to kind of hit the high spots. And that will change from next week, So we want to, as of today, talk about each project, where we are, any other details. So let's talk about the first one, and that is, we used to call it Palatka A, but it's now going to be known as Palatka Intermediate, and that will house grades 3 through 6 whenever that school opens of the students here in the city of Palatka. And all that is a process in making right now. But let's talk about that, and both of you maybe weigh in on where we are on that and in our progress.
Sure, I'll jump in first, and I'll be the 30,000-foot person, and then when we get ready to go down into
the details.
In the details, I'll kick it over to Greg. So, first of all, I want to point out just a few things that have already been said, and I'm glad you said that you put a timestamp on today's date, just because things are moving along so fast, so quickly. I mean, they are rocking along. We actually have a tour of the Palatka A site today, and we'll say the same thing this afternoon. You know, just take a good look right now, because a week from now it won't look exactly like this, because you know, they're adding on so rapidly. And also, I wanted to mention just the how valuable, Greg, you've been as a partner throughout this process, because you know, I knew a lot about running a school, and I was very excited to be in this role. When it came to the customer service side of what everything should feel like in operations and what to expect. So, you know, I kind of had an idea of what we wanted to provide to students, but I had no idea how to build a school, you know, or anything about it. So, you know, we contracted with CRA, who's been invaluable, because that's all they do.
Right.
And so, when he said design management, the management part I kind of underscore, because he kind of oversees almost everything we do. If there's a contract that I'm looking at, I'm depending on Greg to also take a look at it, just to make sure that everything's right, all the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed, we're getting the best price, those type things, and all of the expectations that we should expect and they call us the owners of the project, but we know it's the taxpayers who are the owners, and we intend to be good stewards. Now that I got today's service announcement out of the way, we can talk about the projects themselves. So Palatka A is going to be a very big school. It's about 1,150 student stations, and you know, I'll let you correct any of my details that I get wrong along the way, but it's well underway. It's going to have a gym, which is a little bit unique for an elementary school. There's a gym at Melrose Elementary School right now in Putnam County, but most of our elementary schools do not have gyms. But it'll be a big gym, and it'll be a big school. The gymnasium is the walls are up, the roof is on. The cafeteria, pretty much the same. Some of the classroom wings the walls have been constructed, and the roof is, some of the trusses are starting to go on. So that project is really, really ramping along, or ramping, or going forward, just and at warp speed. Greg, you want to jump in?
Yes, we had an OAC meeting today, owner, architect, contractor meeting today. We do those every other week. And I was after the meeting, we walked the site, and Thomas is right. There is probably, all the slabs have been poured. Probably 60% or so of the block have been laid at this point. We've got trusses and structural roof decking on probably 35 or 40% of the project. They are starting to rough in the mechanical and the plumbing up in the attic space. And site work's been done. The retention pond's in place. A lot going on over there. I think today they said there was 40-something masons on site today. So there's a lot of block being laid there every day. So they're making good progress right now. And it is Osley Construction who is doing that one.
Right. Yeah. And I'm excited to go. I've been out there, but not recently, so I'm excited to see the progress there. And by the way, 2 of the schools that we're talking about today are being constructed out of bond money. You know, our 2 elementary schools, and the high school that we're going to talk about is actually being constructed from special facilities appropriation from the legislature. And as a matter of fact, I'll just mention this. We do have a Bond Oversight Committee that watches very closely the spending and how the money is spent to make sure that the taxpayers are, you know, making sure the money is being spent wisely. So I think that's great. And we actually are taking that committee on the tour today so they can see firsthand how the money is being spent. So let's transition over to our next elementary school, and that is the one in South Putnam at Crescent City Elementary School. And, you know, if you want to talk about, give us an overview on where we are on that, you know, the 30,000-foot view, and then maybe Greg can go into a little more detail.
Absolutely. So, and just to backtrack with the last bill, I don't think anyone mentioned that Casper Architects are the architect of that particular school. So I want to make sure I gave them credit.
Thank you.
And it's a beautiful school, beautiful design. I think we're going to actually display pictures of the projects, what they currently look like, and what they will look like upon completion.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. And by the way, we'll have that information on the screen. And we're actually looking at that now, looking at that information. So thanks for reminding me about
Yes,
that.
sir.
Yep.
Yes, sir. So the Crescent City build is a little bit behind the Palatka bill, and that's for a reason. Our initial intent was to build that particular school where Miller Middle School currently is. For the junior, senior high school site, and we're going to talk about it in detail in a minute, it's a phased situation. So some of it will be built, then part of the existing school will be demolished, and then you'll build the next buildings. And then with the Palatka A school, it's being built on a completely different site, which used to be E.H. Miller School on Horseman Club Road. So no students are involved in that process at all. We wanted to do Miller in Crescent City simply because the Middleton Burney site that's currently in Crescent City didn't have enough room to actually do a phase build. As a matter of fact, we probably couldn't get another portable on that campus if we wanted to. It's literally that tight, and it's busting at the seams with students. And so since the first part of our revitalization plan was the condensing, essentially we did away with the middle schools in the district, and now we have K-6 elementary schools and 712 junior, senior high schools. So our middle school properties are available. If we wanted to do a build. But we zeroed in on Miller because it was the only property we had in Crescent City that the school district owned. And we could, that was, literally the only choice for the new elementary school. Once we started that process, we got quite a bit of pushback from some of the local residents who have their own ideas about revitalizing Crescent City's downtown, and they just, lots of people for lots of different reasons didn't want us to proceed in that area and at that particular site. And then also we found out that it was pretty tight building.
There were a lot of constraints on that site with the slope of the site and everything. We were going to have to go multiple story. We even at one time talked 3-story.
Right.
Yeah, for an elementary school, that would not be advisable.
And then trying to get the traffic on and the traffic issues it would have caused. I think someone referred to it as trying to put 6 pounds of potatoes in a 5-pound bag, and it just didn't work out
that would have been me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I think it was. So for a variety of reasons, we decided to drop back and punt, and we looked for a neutral site or another site, as it was, to build the elementary school, and we did find a place. It's actually, if you draw a line from the high school going in one direction and then the current elementary school coming in another direction, right where they intersect, which is at the corner of Union and, help me out, Rick, is it 309?
308.
308.
Yeah.
308 in
Huntington
Union.
Road.
Huntington Road.
Right.
That is the site. It's a beautiful, is it 30 acres, Greg?
Yes, 30.
Yeah, right around 30 acres of property. It was a hayfield previously, and it was just ideal for a school that could be a bigger school than the current elementary school, but also it leaves some room to grow. Mm-hmm. And the high school site is a little bit tight as well, and there's a bus depot on the high school site. It would also give us the possibility of possibly relocating the bus garage down in Crescent City on the elementary property at some point, so we can free up additional space at the high school for practice fields and other things. It's just a tight site down at the high school. But anyway, we did acquire the property. We had to have it rezoned properly, and so all of those things took a while, but now the projects are finally underway. All projects are underway. We wanted them to kind of truck along at the same pace, because we had in our idea 3 rounds of a revitalization plan that would ultimately take 10 years, and we wanted to finish everything together. But life, and I found out life in construction doesn't always work out like that. So at any rate, we're well underway. You want to talk about the specifics of that
Crescent City
site?
Pre-K to 6, we are, site work is progressing there. We've got the retention ponds roughed in there. All of the building pads are built up and laid out right now. We are, they are pouring footers on probably 50% of the site right now. You can see the rebar sticking up everywhere. They're getting ready to start laying concrete block below slab there. They're doing a lot of the infrastructure work there, stormwater piping, sewer piping, all of that. So they're well on their way there. But right now theirs is pretty much in the ground site work.
And that is also, just a reminder, that is also on the city of Crescent City utilities.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
So that's also going to, I think, be a benefit. And I know we've talked with the city commission down there, and we've talked with a lot of citizens and all, and I think they're very excited about that. I think it's really going to add a lot of growth in that area, and it's kind of out there in a kind of not very populated area, but I think that area will tend to grow as time goes by. So let's talk about the high school project. And of course, this is the one that's paid out of the legislators' appropriation, and that'll be Crescent City Junior Senior High School on the same exact spot. So Thomas, talk to us about just a little bit about the whole process, and then you've already mentioned that's going to be a phase-in kind of project, but any other 30,000-foot view comments about that, and then we'll let Greg give us some more details on that.
30 words or less?
Yeah.
Well, we'll give it a shot. So the special facilities process is a competitive process, and we were just to actually be considered for special facilities. They look at small and rural districts. What are some of the other qualifications for special facilities?
Your millage has to be below a certain level. You have to be in the small county consortiums, and those are a couple of the others.
And we had to, and you'll probably talk about this, we had to right size our student enrollment with our student stations, which is the whole process.
Right, which was part of our revitalization, and that's why we combined our junior, senior high schools, or essentially closed our middle schools. And so we had the survey done. We went through the application process. We had to actually go up to Tallahassee and present to a committee up in DOE. And then they decided whether or not they wanted to actually fund the project. And then they decided to fund it. And then we got our appropriation. And then the world's pandemic happened. And that money that used to be what it was no longer was what it was. So we had to go back to the legislature and ask for an additional, was it $30 million?
Approximately $28 or $30 million.
Yeah, it was a good chunk of change. So that just kind of tells you how quickly
But we got an extra $28 or $30 million, and your initial contribution didn't change. It wasn't increased. You're just getting extra money here.
It's a very good point. And I don't think anyone has mentioned that the district always has what they like to call skin in the game. And that is we have to give our own contribution to it. And the reason we use special facilities funding for the high school projects is because they're typically the most expensive, and our contribution doesn't change.
Doesn't change.
We do a mill's worth of millage 3 times, and that's what we have to pay back. And so we'll do that. And last I checked, that was, if you want to know the particular number, I think it's around $30 million these days. Is that close to being right? The total
With
payback?
all 3 of the years.
Yes, sir.
That's my understanding.
Okay.
Approximately. Yeah.
So anyway, but we have to pay that back before we can start the next special facilities project, which in and itself is a little bit of a challenge, just because we have to take care of our own needs and just anything that happens. When I say our needs, I mean from maintenance and repairs and just keeping our existing schools operational, and then just budgeting for everything else that we have to do to make a district work. So, it's quite a lot. And, my hat's off to our finance team and departments and actually all of our administrators and educators and everyone just working together to, realize this entire plan and make all of that work. And being a little bit patient, knowing that, it's going to be some growing pains, and it may be, our belts may have to be tightened a bit, and it may be a little bit lean for us for a few years before we can realize just brand new, beautiful schools. So anything that's worth having, I guess, isn't easily acquired. So we're all working hard to get to the end goal, and it's coming along. As a matter of fact, the high school will be built in stages, and I'll let Greg talk a little bit more about that. But we won't have to wait till the very end before we have any type of move-in. As the new buildings are completed, and they'll be occupied by our students. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that the new middle school building for the senior high school will be complete by the beginning of next school year. Now, I'll let you correct it and kind of take it from there.
That is the plan right now. And let me back up and say, Clemens Rutherford and Associates, one of the things we specialize in is special facilities projects. We have done close to 36 of these. Mm-hmm. I've been at this for 35 years, and this is by far the most difficult project with special facilities we've tried to do. And we're going to succeed, and it's going to be a great project. But it's a occupied campus. We're going to keep the kids there while we're doing this. We're not bringing any portables in. Mm-hmm. Somebody might ask, why wouldn't you put them in some portables out here? Well, to pay for those portables comes out of the construction budget, and we don't gain anything there. So we're going to work around that. So virtually we are building a new building shoehorning a new building in, going to get it built, then we're going to occupy it. That will allow us to tear down something else. We're going to occupy it, and then we can keep going forward. So it's a multi-phase project. It's going to take a while, but when it's all said and done, it's going to be great. We are working on as we said, the middle school building right now. We are early into that. They have got the building laid out. They've got some infrastructure run to it. We are pouring footings right now, so they are getting going there, and there's a lot of work going to be done between now and August of next year, but I've got confidence that Parrish McCall is going to succeed here.
Well, and Tim Adams, the principal, does a great job. I know he's working closely with the construction management, and the noise and whatever comes with that is just part of that. Right. And I think they're handling it well.
Rick, before we go any further, I want to just mention, and I heard you say Parrish McCall, but Parrish McCall is the construction company that's doing the building
Crescent
for
City
the high school, and then Osley Construction is doing the
Ajax.
Ajax is doing the
pre-K to 6.
Yes, down in Crescent City, and Osley is here in Palatka.
Yep.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because we definitely will give them a shout.
Credit. Absolutely,
they are very professional firms. They're doing an excellent job, and you mentioned the Bond Oversight Committee. Happening tonight. They show up for all of those, and I'm just very thankful that we've hired such professional, outstanding firms, and we're excited.
Well, one thing I've learned, and you and I've learned a lot about construction, probably more than we ever want to know. But one thing I think our taxpayers will be very happy to hear is the idea of a GMP, guaranteed maximum price. So they actually have to bid that, and that is the ceiling. They can't go above that.
No, sir.
And to me, that should give our taxpayers some resolve that we're working with a very professional group, a number of groups, and they are pretty much bound by contract to stay into that.
The only change orders that you will get on a guaranteed maximum price with these guys are deductive change orders, and we've got a lot of those because you're realizing tax savings on these projects.
And we're actually purchasing a lot of these the materials through the district, which the district, being a state agency, does not pay sales tax. So that's a huge savings.
You're realizing that percentage.
Right. So in wrapping this portion up, I want to just let everybody know, I want to invite you guys to come back maybe at a later time, and we'll date stamp that and see where we are in that process. And again, the three documents that we have here on the schools are the basic information that I think all of you would like to see, and some of the photos. We'll have that on our website, and we'll provide that information in case you want to link to that to see what we're talking about. Thomas, in a minute or two that we have remaining, talk to us about the only other construction project or renovation project is actually right here in the building we're sitting in now. So talk to us about that, and really I think our employees would really be happy to hear that.
Yes, sir. It's going to be our clinic. We don't have an official name for it. I think the insurance committee is meeting tomorrow, and that's one of the agended items to actually figure out what we're going to call it. But if you are a member of PCSD and you have our health insurance, you'll be able to come to our clinic right here on, what is this, 1100 Hudson Avenue.
Yeah, Hudson Avenue.
Hudson Avenue.
Right.
As
Right
a matter of
across
fact,
right across from Mosley Elementary School.
Yes, and this used to be Mosley Elementary School, which was my first school, so you would think I'd know that, address by heart. But so it's where the media center is, and during when we were closed as a district for COVID, this building was actually used for testing, and the health department kind of moved in, so it's almost served as a clinic in some fashion already, and it's had a variety of uses since. And as you know, this is a school that's no longer in service. But this will be the operational as the district clinic, at least this half of it. The other half will be occupied by staff from our mental health department. But we're very excited about that. We're looking forward to that coming online sometime in 2025. I've learned, in the world of construction, be careful when it comes to hard dates, but we're hoping for sometime in 2025.
And right now, there's not a parking lot, a paved parking lot. I believe there will be when that'll be part of the plan. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Right.
I've been looking at several emails where they are trying to find a civil engineer because of us requesting a parking lot.
But I think that's going to be great. Just in wrapping it up, I think our employees and future employees can really benefit from that, and that should be a great recruiting tool right there to be able to get some free medical help when you need it, at a certain level. So to walk in here and automatically get free assistance, so that'd be a great service for us.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I want to thank both of you for being here, and I've learned a lot just in the last few minutes that I didn't know. And I know that, again, if you have any questions, again, go to that the revitalization portion of our website, and it has everything you can imagine on there. And if you have any further questions about that, just feel free to maybe contact our district office, and we can have somebody answer your questions, because we want to make sure all of our taxpayers out there are well informed about what's going on. And we do record our bond oversight meetings too, so you can go to that. I believe those are found on our website as well. And we just want to give out as much information as possible. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here, and then we'll see you next at our next podcast.